Well, hi. Well, today I wanted to come out here and shoot a video about this particular tree. I've shared things in the past about this tree, and I wanted to share a little bit more. Now, first off, as you all may know, my name's Jim. I post a lot of things as far as my video record, and that's exactly what it turns out to be, my video record. Now, this tree right here I wanted to share with you is because it's got a little bit behind it that has intrigued me as far as my pawpaws are concerned. Looks like a bird got into here, got onto that little stem. It broke down. But anywho, switched around over to here because there's a little bit of shade behind me here. It's pretty hot. We're dealing with 90-degree weathers plus all week last week, all week this week, and I tell you what, it's just been a hot season. Well, anyways, getting back to this little tree. In 2018, I had a larger tree over by the driveway, and what I did was I dug up a root sucker. It was in a pot. I sent a picture of that root sucker to a family member who, by the way, has a really big pawpaw patch that he put out behind his house, and he sent me a message back stating it needs to be in the ground, it needs to be out in the sun, it's big enough. So I followed what his advice was, and I brought it out here and I planted it right here. Probably the end of July of 2018, beginning of August of 2018, I took care of it. And now you see the results of that tree. So apparently it turned out to be some good advice. Now, what had happened last year, early in the spring, the deer had came in here and defoliated this entire tree, and I thought it wasn't going to make it. They never broke a stem. They left just a little bit of the stem of the leaf on that tree, and it never hurt that tree. Matter of fact, it caused that tree to grow differently than what I think it was supposed to grow, and I am so pleased. Which, by the way, as I said, this is a root sucker, or used to be a root sucker from another tree. Now that I've taken it from the other tree and brought it out here, it has become an individual tree. It's a tree, and I got it planted. I got a tree over there to my right, one directly behind me, and around the coop there's another one that is a seedling that's they're about the same size as far as height. A little bit different style as far as growth, but nonetheless they're the same size. And I'm looking at it, and right here there's still a remnant of a leaf stem from last year. But anywho, this particular pawpaw here is the only one that I transplanted as far as a root sucker that I did not graft into. The rest of them were grafted. I grafted different varieties out there in my fruit garden. I got one down there, which later on down the road I'm going to share another video with it. And yes, I have shared a video with it. But I'm going to share another video with it as far as an update. But this is the only one that I elected not to graft into. And I'm glad I didn't. I mean, it is still continuing to grow. is still continuing to be probably one of the prettiest little pawpaws that I got growing out here. You know, a lot of people say root suckers are undesirable. Don't waste your time with root suckers. Do you want to know something? This right here, for me personally, is proof not to listen to everything you hear or everything that people say. There's a stem from last year. That died back. But for the most part, that tree is doing excellent. I am so pleased. There's another stem, another stem. I left a lot of those stems on there just to see what they would do. And there's another one right there. And as I'm looking at them and putting my fingers on them, I'm breaking them off. They're no longer viable. But this is just something that I wanted to show you. Pawpaws are very, very amazing little trees. You get root suckers from other trees as well as pawpaws. Persimmon's one of them. And I have dug up root suckers from a crab apple. But for the most part, these little trees right here, they're very amazing. They know, or they grow very, very well when cared for very, very well. I came out here this year and I put a little bit of fertilizer around this, and as you can see, the results of this little tree, you know, has been great. I have a stem. Now last year I shared a stem that came from down here and up to here, and some leaves, and I'm like, all right, we're 11 to 12 inches. But this year there is a fresh stem right here growing up to here, and we're looking at another 12 inches. Likewise right here, this one right here is probably about 9 to 10 inches long. I mean, it's just growing, and I'm guessing probably 2, maybe 3 years from now, I'll have some flower sets in this. Now, one thing that I wanted to share and talk about is with root suckers is I've noticed that root suckers, when you separate them from the mother tree, and as long as you have a good enough root ball, that root sucker, in my opinion, I could be wrong, normally grows a lot quicker. It's more willing to grow quicker than a seedling. The root suckers that I grafted into, those did extremely well. But the seedlings that I grafted into in the house, yeah, they produced, they did well, but they did not take on the growth on the scion wood like they did the root suckers. But for the most part, like I said, this one right here, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let it do its own thing. I'm going to let it continue to grow, see what kind of fruit I get out of it. The mother tree, by the way, I cut it back and I did a, I guess what you call a bark inlaid graft, and it didn't take off so well. But this is probably one of the most healthiest root suckers that I've grown. It's out in the sun, and it's doing very, very well. The other one I have down over the bank right here, I did a graft into it. I grafted 3 different pieces of scion wood into it, and it was as big as this one right here, if not taller. And all 3 scion stems that I put into that tree took off, and I'm just very, very surprised and very pleased of how this tree did. It was just something that intrigued me. You know, we're looking at 4 foot, close to 4 foot. there's where the end of last year's growth came, and there's stems that came off of that. Got a 5-inch and a 6-inch stem that came off of that, and they're just doing good. This one right here is doing tremendous, and I wanted to share it with you because for me it is exciting. I'm very, very pleased with this little pawpaw. Yes, I said pawpaw, not root sucker. It's an individual tree. One day it will produce flowers, and it will be pollinated from the other pawpaws around it, and we'll see what kind of fruit I get from that. But anyhow, something I wanted to share with you. My name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe, and don't forget to click on that bell for notifications. You all have a God-blessed day.